So, what if I told you about a digital heist that managed to compromise the very foundations of the internet? An attack on a scale we've never seen before, with a punchline that's almost too weird to believe. It all starts with this number, 2.6 billion. That is how many times a handful of core software packages get downloaded every single week. I mean, think of these as the invisible Lego bricks that build the apps you use every single day. And, well, not long ago, they were all compromised. And now, here's the second number, 5 cents. That's it. That's the grand total the attacker actually managed to steal in Ethereum. So despite getting their hands on the controls for a massive slice of the internet's infrastructure, the actual theft was, well, less than a dime. And that, right there, is the central mystery we're going to unravel in this explainer. How is that even possible? How can the biggest software supply chain attack in history have such a tiny, tiny payoff? To figure that out, we have to dig in and see how it all went down. Okay, so to solve this thing, we first need to dissect the attack itself. It was really a perfect storm, right? It combined some clever human manipulation with some pretty sophisticated tech to hit the absolute heart of the JavaScript ecosystem. So, how did it all kick off? Well, it was deceptively simple. The attacker sent a very convincing phishing email to a key open-source developer. It looked like it was from NPM support, warning them to update their two-factor authentication. The developer, probably stressed in the middle of their day, clicked the link and entered their credentials into a fake site. And boom! Just like that, the attacker had the keys to the kingdom. They immediately published malicious updates to 18 critical software packages. And the malware they pushed? It was brilliantly devious. Basically, a universal crypto hijacker. First, it would sniff around for a crypto wallet like MetaMask. Then, it would worm its way into the core code that handles sending money. It's kind of like tapping a phone line, but for your digital cash. So when a user would go to make a transaction, the malware would intercept it and in a flash, just swap the recipient's address with the attacker's own. Totally surgical, completely invisible to the user. So we've seen the attacker side of things, but what about the human cost? What was it actually like for a developer just sitting at their desk who suddenly found themselves on the front lines of this digital crisis? This comes from Parisneo, the developer behind a popular AI framework. He was just in the middle of his workday, running a totally routine command when his screen lit up with a warning that he'd never, ever seen before. This is what he saw. He ran a standard npm audit command, which is, basically a security checkup for a project's code. But this time, that vulnerability column didn't say outdated or insecure. It said one word, malware. And it wasn't just one package, it was a whole list of critical pieces of software that his project depended on. This wasn't a potential problem, it was an active infection warning. His investigation then led to this, just a truly nerve-wracking moment. See, the malware used a specific code pattern, starting variables with _0x. So he looks at a version of his own app, one that was built before this attack was even public, and he saw that same pattern. For a terrifying minute, his heart just sank. Was he the one who'd been shipping infected code to all of his users for days? But this moment brilliantly illustrates a crucial lesson. Context is everything. After he took a deeper look, he realized his pre-built code, on the right there, only had a single instance of that _0x pattern. That's just a normal side effect of minification, the process of shrinking code for the web. The actual malware on the left, which he found in his node_modules directory, was absolutely riddled with dozens of them. It was a false alarm, but man, what a powerful lesson in telling a real threat apart from a ghost. Okay, so we've seen the sophisticated attack and the absolute chaos it caused for developers. This brings us right back to our central mystery. With all of that power, why did the attacker only walk away with a nickel? And here's the answer. The direct theft, it was never the real story. That 5 cents is completely insignificant compared to the real financial impact. We're talking about thousands upon thousands of collective hours spent by engineering and security teams all around the world scrambling to clean up their systems. And, kind of ironically, the millions of dollars in new security contracts that are going to be signed because of this case study. And hey, this isn't just my speculation. The official security report from SEAL Intel concluded the exact same thing. The real cost wasn't measured in stolen crypto, it was measured in lost productivity, in eroded trust, and in the massive, coordinated effort it took to patch the hole. So, what do we do with all this? The attack, as chaotic as it was, actually gave us some incredibly valuable lessons from the trenches on how we can build a stronger defense for the future. It really boils down to 4 key lessons. First, at the end of the day, security is human. A simple phishing email defeated all the technical safeguards. Second, the very thing that makes open source so powerful, how interconnected it is also its biggest weakness. But on the flip side, the community's response was incredibly fast and coordinated, which just shows its resilience. And finally, this whole thing proved that we have to be proactive about defense, not just reactive with patches. So for any developers watching, this whole crisis basically forged an emergency playbook. Step 1, stop the bleeding. Kill all your running node processes immediately. Then you methodically remove the infected code, clear your cache so you don't accidentally reinstall it, and finally you lock down your dependencies using exact version pinning. That prevents your project from automatically pulling in a malicious update down the road. And, believe it or not, there is a silver lining here. This attack spurred some real innovation. Right in the middle of the crisis, developers like Parisneo started building new, intelligent security scanners that are designed specifically to catch these kinds of obfuscated threats. And those tools are now available to everyone, making the entire ecosystem that much stronger. So we end up right back where we started, but with a whole new perspective. The 5-cent heist wasn't a failure for the attacker. It was a massive, expensive wake-up call for everybody else. It leaves us all with a pretty critical question to think about. Our entire digital world is built on layers and layers of open source code we never even see, often maintained by volunteers. Who do we really trust to protect its foundations?